Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Buckeye Roast. We kind of have Q back. We have Q in an audio capacity only. So, welcome back. What's good?
What's good? Good to be back. I've become an AI system, so this is how I exist now. I'm just a voice out there in the interweb. What's going on, everybody? Missed y'all, man. I'm trying to make shift my thing right now, but I should be back in full capacity. My body ships in, tomorrow, so I should be good to go then. But happy to be back. Happy to talk some ball. Ron's been holding it down. Ron, what's good?
Shit. Fucking Buckeyes are 2-0. Bama's lost. So, all is right in the world, right?
Yeah, that always helps. It always helps, man. But yeah, I missed it. Missed the show yesterday. You did a good job there. Obviously, let me give my shout out. So Eric had the first chat in there. So Eric was good. Good morning, everybody. I missed all y'all, man. It's been a lonely couple days without the roast gang, but it's also like 5 a.m. So need y'all to bring the energy because I'm gonna be sleepwalking into half these.
Yeah, so
Oh
you
man.
missed
But yeah, so
Buckeye
for
Roast on
today,
Sunday. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
No, I was going to say you missed Buckeye BS on Sunday and you weren't here yesterday. So why don't you give the people your thoughts on week 2 because they have not heard from you?
Yeah, because my opinion is the only one that truly matters here. So this is what I had. So watch the game on Saturday. Obviously, the offensive output was way better than what it was. So I thought they looked good. The defense was business as usual. So a couple of notes I took. So McCord, he looked increasingly comfortable. I like the way he played. He came out with a little more confidence, and I think you talked about it on Buckeye BS on Sunday. He said he started to look more comfortable, started to grow into his role a bit. So he did look good. Travion Henderson, man, how much did we rave about Travion Henderson all summer? We had a couple other people, talking about Chip and Dallin and all the good stuff, but Trey looked explosive. Now I will give you it's Youngstown State. That is all true, but Trey looked really good. Like the way he was cutting, like the way G Scott was blocking, which Mike had talked about. Yeah, he looked explosive, man. Is this the return to 3K Trey? Is he about to get it rolling, Rod?
I wouldn't go that far, but he did look better.
No, he did look good. I thought Brown looked decent. Also too, I still want to see him take some more shots. Still want to see him take a little more risk. But I thought Brown did look decent. He threw some real dots, man. That dude's got a lot of potential. Would still like to see him play a little more. But that being said, that's most of the notes I took for the offense. For the defense, I thought it was business as usual, man. The D line, led by Mike Hall, they just wrecked the game. I saw Cam talk about Sunday, the backup DNs looking really freaky, and the over JT and Jack Sawyer. I thought that was very true. I think they look crazy. So it's going to be a competition here as far as pass rush, but we don't know yet too because we haven't faced a passing team like we will on Saturday. So it'll really be the chance to see some guys get after the quarterback. But I thought D line looked good. I thought your boy Tommy and Steele were back Saturday. I thought they played well. Thought they looked very solid. Also, too, Cody Simon looked solid. I think he's playing for more playing time. And CJ Hicks, man, I think it was our propaganda. We finally got him in the game.
We bullied him onto the field.
All that leverage we had, we finally got to see him play. And man, that dude's an athlete. I think he needs to play some. He looked like he's been practicing for 2 years and not really played. You saw a little bit of the game rust, you saw the game speed, but he was flying to the ball when he knew where the ball was going. I thought he was fine, and he just needs playing time, to be honest. So I like to see where he was at. The cornerback's got an interception. My guy Burke. What did I put it at? Three. What did I put at 3.5 for the season?
I
Is
believe
that, is that
so.
right? Yeah, so we're a quarter of the way there. We'll get Burke back, get a couple more picks, and I'll be right per usual. And then BIA, man, they look back, they look good, but it's not a true test until this weekend. We'll see a more passing team, so I can't wait for that. So that was most of what my thoughts were leaving Saturday and going into next week.
Yeah, it'll be fun to revisit our bold predictions because I am almost positive I won, but according to you, you're right like usual. So that'll be interesting to revisit on Friday because I'm almost positive you lost. So can't wait to revisit those bold predictions from last week when we do our bold prediction show this week. But you did hit on a couple of things that we're going to talk about today as far as we're going to see a decent passing attack from Western Kentucky this week going into week 3. It's like the first team that we're playing that's going to be actually trying to win. I feel like the past 2 teams that we played have been just trying to keep the game respectable and not get blown out and run the clock out as much as possible and get out of there alive. I think Western Kentucky is going to come in here and try to chuck the ball around and really fight to the end in this game. And we're going to see we're going to see our DBs challenge, and we're going to have plenty of pass rushing opportunities. I know Western Kentucky averages 46.5 points per game. Last year, their quarterback threw for 4,400 yards and 40 touchdowns. So it's not like they have some slouch back there. They have someone that's willing to sling it around. What are your thoughts on a team with such a pass-heavy attack coming in to play the Buckeyes this week?
Exactly what we need. The first week we played the vaunted triple option by Indiana. Youngstown State obviously didn't have the horses. I mean, they actually looked kind of good early, so I was like, all right, we might get a little test this week, but that was really about it. After that first couple drives, that was really it for the challenge. So I'm definitely interested. Like you said, the pass rush, we've been talking about it. They need an actual opportunity to rush the passer. They will get that this week. There's no doubts about it. And the DBs, man, they need to be challenged. Burke, Igbenogson, your boy Malik Harford in the gang. They got to get challenged. They got to get somebody to go after them and see how they respond. So this will be their first big test, and this will be good, especially going into Notre Dame, where Sam Harford is gonna test that defense's chin. So definitely can't wait to see it. Sam Hartman, not Harford.
Absolutely. I really do think they're going to get tested. So one of the people that we talked about a ton during the offseason was Denzel Burke, and was he going to bounce back to his freshman self? He seems to have done so, as you noted in your post-game notes from week 2. He had his first interception of the season, which is the first interception by a cornerback in the past 2 seasons for the Buckeyes. Do you expect the success that we've seen him have to continue? I mean, we only played Youngstown State and an Indiana team that was trying to run the triple option, so we weren't really tested that much. What do you expect to see from Denzel? Do you expect the success to continue, and could this be a breakout game for him this season?
Well, first, before we get into that, 34 people in here like the video, man. Everybody like the video. Happy to be back. Happy to see y'all. Y'all be seeing me soon, as soon as I can. But getting into Burke, yeah, man, I was one of the people that was really riding the Burke train the end of last season. People go back and say, yeah, he had a terrible last year. It wasn't up to par, yes, but early on, he didn't play well. As the season went on, he started playing much, much better by the Georgia game. Michigan game, you really didn't notice him. Everybody just remembers the one pass he gave against Georgia. So he used that momentum going into the offseason, obviously got better this season, and he looks good. I am riding the hype. I think he looks good. I haven't seen anything bad, even on all 22. I haven't really seen bad reps by him. I think he's covering receivers. Obviously, he showed off some ball skills finally, which you mentioned. He played wide receiver, so interceptions shouldn't really be that hard. He should be more used to that than the fundamentals of DB. But he got the fundamentals of DB, and his ball skills have been lacking. So I think I ride the Burke hype. I'm also riding the Jordan Hancock hype, so let me throw that in there. Shout out Jordan Hancock, go be an All-American in the draft pick so I can eat dinner. Also, too, I think Igbenogson looks good as well, but Burke, he's going to be the guy, man. He's going to be the guy to take people out. I expect him to really continue this hype going forward.
Yeah, so you brought up Jordan Hancock, which takes us to our next topic. Who's going to play nickel on Saturday? We saw Cam Martinez out there, something that no Buckeye fan in the nation wants to see. We talked about him not playing all year, and yet it's week 2, and we see him out there giving up the biggest play of the day. It was statistically the longest play of the day. Jordan Hancock gets mossed on the sideline. I mean, not Jordan Hancock. Cam Martinez gets mossed on the sidelines, and I don't think we saw him the rest of the game. I don't remember seeing him back out there, but it seems like that's still a position a bit of concern because if it was locked down, you would expect to see Jordan Hancock or whoever's going to be playing there regularly out there instead of Cam Martinez, which is this project that they refuse to let go of. We saw him out there getting toasted against Michigan. We saw it again in the Georgia game. I don't understand us matching up these safeties that can't backpedal against wide receivers. Like, we have the corner depth to have a corner playing the nickel position, yet we somehow keep getting these guys out there that are converted players from different positions. I mean, this kid played quarterback in high school, and we have him out here playing nickel corner for a team that has championship aspirations. It just does not make any sense why this kid is getting out onto the field. I really hope that we see more Jordan Hancock on Saturday. Had him splitting time at multiple positions this off season, inside and outside a corner. So I'd like to see Jordan Hancock really solidify himself in that position and lock down the nickel corner position this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 200%. I like Hancock. I think he's played well. I thought that was the position for him before the season. Cam Martinez did get some burn, and he did give up a play, so that didn't help his stock very much. He did play some after that, but no, I think that's a Hancock Jair Brown position who we still haven't seen very much. But those two corners fit that, especially Jair Brown being a more physical guy. You can do a lot with him that even you probably have a little more flexibility than you do that Hancock has. But I thought Hancock played increasingly well, especially for a slot guy. He's known for his speed, so that's what he's here for. So I don't know why we don't just play it and roll with it. Another guy maybe I could see is Jahad Carter. We haven't seen much from him, but we've known him as a coverage guy. So somewhere in the balance of those three is what I would like to see, but leading with Hancock and letting him get the reins and kind of put this three-corner system back together. I mean, that's the success we're coming off with BIA, where we always had three corners that can play. So we're like, all right, bet we're good to go. So I think we have three, and I think they need to let them play, and let's roll with that.
So another person in the secondary, we've hit on nickel. We've talked about one of the outside corners. Another person I wanted to talk about was David Igbinosun. We talked all off season about his physicality, the dog mentality that he brings to that cornerback room. We saw the off season clips where he was practically tackling people out of their break. Just a very physical corner, super handsy. We already saw him get a pass interference penalty this year, and I celebrated it because I'm like, that's exactly what I want to see. So with this pass happy team that we're going against, I have the over under for 1.5 penalties on David Igbinosun set at 1.5. So I want to get your thoughts. How physical do you expect him to be? Are you going to be upset if you see a ton of physicality that results in penalties with a team that, you know what I mean, might not have the best skill talent, but it's just out there throwing the ball around? Or are you just good with the physicality as long as we're not letting them in the end zone? So what are your thoughts on David Igbinosun's physicality? How do you think it's going to present itself on Saturday? And do you think it'll result in more than one penalty?
Well, you did say you wanted to see more pass interference, so he's right down your alley. He's holding down. He said, "Ron, I got you. I saw the show. I'll give you everything you want." Um, I would say probably under 1.5. He might get one. He might hold somebody as long as he doesn't do it egregiously like in week one. I think he's okay for the most part. You kind of you gotta hide it and not show the ref and be okay. So I would say under 1.5. But I love the physicality. Where there's going to come a time where we're playing physically opposing receivers, and we need that guy. And I don't think Burke is the one to match up and match your physicality. Igbinosun is. So having that variety of corners, like you got a really fast guy, maybe Hancock is a guy for that. Got a guy who's good on his routes, maybe Burke is a guy for that. Got a guy who's going to give you a physical challenge. Igbinosun is the guy for that. So I love the balance of corners we have and how they can play against different receivers. I would say it's much needed. I can always deal with one penalty as long as you're not getting 4, 5, or 6. I'm all right. Just don't give him a free lane to the end zone. So I think Igbinosun has brought in exactly what we need to balance out our secondary. And I will take the under and say he may get one, he'll learn from it, and he'll cut it out. So that's where I would go with that.
So another person that I wanted to talk about, not necessarily in the secondary, but will be involved in the pass game on Saturday is Tommy Eichenberg. One of the things that Jim Knowles said during the offseason was that Tommy's really there mentally. He's able to see the plays before they happen. He knows the how and the why behind the calls. Just really knows the defense through and through. But one of the things that he needs to improve on, is his pass coverage. And I think he'll be tested in this game on Saturday. Do you think that we see Tommy get the reps that he needs in coverage on Saturday? Or do you think that we'll see Jim Knowles rotate another more athletic body in there in obvious passing situations? So do you think Tommy is going to get a bunch of reps in coverage? Or do you think that we'll see a more athletic backer on the field?
Yeah, man. Also, man, like the video. Let's get these likes up. Like my guy Brian said, let's get these likes. They're free, man. Just hit that like button. Yeah, as far as Tommy, we know Jim Knowles will hide him in coverage, so I'm not terribly worried about it. I'm probably ready to see a lot of what we saw last year as far as Tommy in coverage. He does a really good job putting him in positions where Tommy can thrive. Now, would I like to see the athletic linebacker on passing downs? That would be cool. I would love to see somebody play the passing lanes, tipping the ball up in the air, just causing a little bit more disruption. So I think this is a good situation to do that. Now, we've had our ideas about linebackers and what good situation would be, and they haven't followed exactly our recommendations so far. So I would expect to see Tommy Steele really get tested. I don't think Steele's as bad in the passing game week 1. So I would love to see a little rotation. I love to see CJ Hicks get out there. I think he's a passing linebacker's dream. He's going to get in the lane. He's going to tip the ball. He's going to create problems. So I would love to see that. But I think Tommy Steele will be okay for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like even if Tommy does get beat, it's really is the game for him to get those reps, because I don't think it's really the result is really in question. So even if he's out there struggling a little bit, I think the reps are definitely welcome for Tommy. But at the same time, if they do rotate, I think any rotation at the linebacker position is needed, not because of the way they're playing, but like Jim Knowles said before the season, I need to do a better job of preparing for the end of the year by getting Cody and CJ snaps for when Steele and Tommy are in there. So rotating those linebackers is something that I'm just going to keep an eye on, because Jim Knowles did say that that's something that he wants to do this year, but we really haven't seen. We finally saw CJ get in the game last week, but not early, not really in meaningful minutes. I feel like we saw Cody Simon last year get in a lot more in early game situations just as a rotation before Tommy really locked down that position. I'm interested to see if we start seeing him earlier in games. I think he's more than capable of rotating in there, but for some reason, Tommy really doesn't ever come out of the game. So that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on. Another over under for you, Q. There's going to be a lot of passing opportunities. I expect the defensive line to really get after the quarterback this week. Over under 0.5 interceptions.
Ooh, that's a good one. And you touched on the defensive line when we talk at next. I think this is gonna help Tommy Steele a lot with them getting to the quarterback so quickly, and they just got to straight up play the passing lanes, and they get a tip, or especially the DBs and back, they don't have a lot of time to cover, so they can play them tight and hopefully get in one of those passing lanes. So I will go the over. I think we'll at least have one. So at 0.5, I think we'll at least get another one. Somebody else will get the action. Maybe Burke will get his second and go ahead and close out my over under and get me paid by Vegas. So I do think we get one. I think it's going to help immensely. And I think this will be good. The rest of the defense will benefit off of that. Like we said, they had a lot of time to throw last year because no interior pass rush. So they should have a lot less time this season, and that should create more turnovers.
Yeah, I really think the pass rush should be disrupted this week, and I think that does result in a turnover. Honestly, I'm expecting multiple turnovers. I wouldn't be surprised to see a strip sack and an interception.
Yeah, give me something, man. Give me some disruption. That's all I want to see from this defense, and give them time to get to the passer, and let's go from there. That's all I want to see. Some disruption. Maybe throw a fumble in there, a couple interceptions, and it'll be a happy Saturday for me.
Exactly, and I'm always here for happy Saturdays.
Another happy Saturday in the Ryan Day era.
Exactly. You got to cherish them when you get them. So we're talking about the defensive line creating pressure. That's something that we just talked about. We do think that they're going to be able to get after the passer. So another over under for you, Q. Over under 2.5 sacks for the Buckeyes on Saturday.
Ooh, that's a good question. I do want to talk about this defensive line a little more. I would say that's a good one. I will say over. I mean, I think Mike Hall has been an absolute monster these first couple of weeks. We're really starting to see the Mike Hall we saw in Notre Dame game last year when he was healthy. I think he's been crazy. Tyreek looked really good last week. I thought he looked good in week one. I thought in week two he looked even better. I think they're creating havoc, and it just gives these pass rushers a chance to get there. I will be disappointed if they don't have over 2 sacks. This is the time for JTT and Jack Sawyer to really get after it. So this will be the chance we're going to see who is really fitting the bid for this pass rush off the edge. Is it going to be those two, or is it going to be the 2022 guys and Kenyatta and Caden Curry? So I think this is the chance for a lot of playing time is up here. You better go get a sack, or you really might be threatening your playing time later on passing downs in the season. So I will go over. I think JT will I think he'll get one, and I think this is Jack Sawyer's chance to really take that next step and elevate himself and have a 2-sack, maybe 3-sack game and just go crazy. Not saying he will, but if he does not, the guys behind him are chomping at the bit to get after the quarterback. So for his sake, get after it.
So our guy Cam here with a great note. Western Kentucky hasn't given up a sack all year. One of 8 teams in college football that can say that this year.
Ooh, man! If I was LJ, I would put that on the board. Right, this would be Monday, right before. They haven't given up a sack all season. They saying y'all gonna go blank on Saturday, and let's see the guys get after it. I mean, I'm sure they haven't played too many Mike Halls and Ty Leagues and JT. I mean, maybe they have. I haven't seen their schedule, but it's a good challenge, man. I like it. We raved about this defensive line all off season. This is one of the chances where it's like, all right, passing downs now. There's no more triple option. There's no more excuses of why you don't have, a chance to get 5 or 6 sacks. Like, go do it. Go show us and let's see what you're really made of.
Something Gojo said, they get the rock out fast. It's something that I've seen proposed on the timeline as a reason why we're not getting pressure is because teams are getting it out so fast, and the fact that they're not throwing it that often. So it's limited pass rush opportunities. But one thing that when I hear that, it makes me think one of the things that we saw last year that we struggled with was yards after catch. A lot of guys were getting catching passes and then breaking tackles and taking them to the house. We saw Cam Brown miss tackles. We saw Cam Martinez missed tackles. We just saw a lot of missed tackles in the secondary overall last year. With a team like this that's so pass happy with quick slants and outs, it'll be interesting to see how Ohio State's open field tackling looks, especially in the secondary, because that seems like something that we struggled with last year.
Yeah, and I'm hoping too they don't give them 20 yards off the line. So like a lot of people are saying, they're running a lot of quick slants and running out. So let's hope they press up and let's take that away. But yeah, man, tackling needs to be assured. I think we've tackled pretty well last week. Week one, I thought we were okay, but yeah, definitely got to tackle. Can't be giving up a slant for 48 yards, 96 yards, whatever it may be. Can't be missing tackles out there. So I agree with you 200%. Yeah, short tackling, and let's get these guys on the ground.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's all we have for our show notes today. I just want to apologize to everyone for the chaos that it's been the past 2 days for the show. Q's in Arizona. We've just been in the process of moving. He's still getting his furniture set up, just getting all of his Wi-Fi connections set up and everything like that. So it's been a bit of a scramble. What?
Yeah, let me ask some questions, man. I've been away for a little bit, but I ain't been asleep. I got a couple of questions for you. So before we get to that, on the offensive side, do you feel like we are putting up the scoring output? This has been one of my major questions for the first 2 weeks, and I put it to you guys on Sunday. As far as the scoring output goes, obviously 23 in the first game, 35 in the second game. We haven't really put up points like that. Does that give you worry at all, especially with these games before we get into conference play?
No, because we touched on it earlier in the show. These teams aren't playing to win. Everybody's sick of Ryan Day complaining about the clock, but I mean, it's the reason for, I mean, it's fair. It's the reason why
Yeah,
we're not getting possessions. I mean, with our scoring output last week, if we would have had the normal 15 possessions that we normally have a game, you know what I mean? We score 73 points. So, I mean, they're getting the ball in the end zone when they have the ball for the most part. So no, it's really not concerning to me. It seems like these teams really aren't playing to win. They're playing to survive. They're trying to run out the score on us. And yeah, Ryan Day said it just puts an emphasis on the defense to get off the field. And I agree. So I'm hoping that we can get more possessions as teams start actually playing. But yeah, I think the scoring output will be fine when needed. It's not like we've had any close games. Our defense has been holding up well. So it's just about
yeah.
them getting off the field faster and us continuing to complete drives at the clip that we're doing it now.
No, 100%. I see what you're saying. I would love to see a little more, a little efficiency, but like you said, losing 5 possessions, like it's 50% of your possessions in total in a game is not ideal. So I feel like we'll have plenty of chances to score, and I don't think we're going to lose any games because we didn't score enough, or we shouldn't really on Ryan Day. So especially when games slow down a little bit, 35 points may look really good later in the season. And right now, you see people blowing out teams that have no business playing. So it looks like, oh, you're not scoring enough. So I agree with you there. As long as the efficiency stays well, I'm good to go there. Now on the defensive end, I will ask. We talked about turnovers early in the season, talking about Jim Knowles says he's going to come in and create turnovers. We did get an interception last week, but do you think these guys will create enough turnovers going into the season as far as conference play goes?
Um, I'm not really concerned about turnovers if they're able to get off the field. I'm trying not to be overcritical of this defense. It's given up 10 points through 2 weeks. So we'll see how it goes this week. If they're able to get off the field and hold teams to low scoring outputs without turnovers, I'm fine with it. I don't want to get overly picky about how I want my defense to look. Uh, as far as when they're playing well, whether it be just not getting off the field and not giving up points or turning the ball over. Yes, everybody loves turnovers and we love to see them, but if they're able to
Mm-hmm.
get off the field and they're stopping teams from scoring, I don't really have a problem with it. We didn't see as many turnovers as advertised last year with the expectations of Jim Knowles coming in. We've only seen one so far this year. Would you like to see more? Obviously, yes, but I don't know if it's absolutely necessary for the success of this defense.
I mean, I agree. It's not necessary. I do have a little something to be desired. I want to see a little more just from the linebackers, the safeties, the D lines. I want to see guys punching at the ball a little more, maybe create some more fumbles, flow to the ball, and just be problematic and disruptive. I would like to see a little more of that. I think they're playing very well, getting teams off the. Getting, I was like getting offenses off the. I can't think of the word off the field. There we go. Getting offenses off the field. I think they're doing a great job, and obviously they're not giving up a crazy amount of explosive plays. But that's the one thing I would love to see. And obviously it's only we're only going into week 3, so they have time. But I would love to see this team be a little more disruptive and cause a little bit of turnovers. That was one of my notes coming in. But my guy Burke is leading the charge. He got an interception. He's going over 3.5, like I said before the season. I'm just gonna talk these things into big right. All my predictions, they're just I'll keep talking them until they happen. But yeah, that's the one note I had on defense. I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, I hear you there. Did you have any other questions?
Those were my big 2 points coming out, just scoring output and defensive turnovers. And I want to give us more time, like you said. Don't want to be overly critical because it's only week 2. They got plenty of ball to play. But my guy Hancock in there is corner number 3. Let's be a little more disruptive. I think the offense is getting into his flow. We didn't much touch on the wide receivers, but obviously looked a lot better on Saturday. So overall notes, I think this team in general is going on in the right direction, and we're gonna really get our questions answered in this week and next week against Notre Dame.
Absolutely. There's one question in the chat I want to get to before we get out of here. Our guy Mitch asked, "What are your concerns level that Jeremiah Smith may flip to Florida State?" Flip to Florida State? 0. I don't think Florida State has any chance of flipping him. My only concern would be Miami. The more Miami wins, the less likely I think it is that Jeremiah Smith ends up at Ohio State. He says he's locked in. He says he'll be here in January. I believe him until further notice. But if there's any concern, it would be with Miami, not Florida State. Q?
Yeah, I don't really have much concern about him flipping Florida State. Like we said all along, as long as Ryan Day and Brian Hartline are at Ohio State, I believe he'll be at Ohio State. It's not a bit. It does get scary at times. Jeremiah Smith has been one known to take some visits, have a good time. I mean, I don't blame him. If I had a chance to be at University of Miami and Florida State every other weekend, I don't have to tell you where I'd be. So most definitely, it's concerning, but he'll be at Ohio State as far as things go now.
Yeah, I hope he ends up here with Miami playing well. I feel like that's always a concern. You see JoJo Trader tweeting at him like, "What's the move?" I know they have 2 Ravens. Some of their middle school team is going to Miami together. It's always been rumored that they'll play together, but we'll see what happens here. I think he ends up being a Buckeye, but if they keep winning, I would be worried about the Hurricanes because I feel like that's been the biggest holdup with that recruitment is why doesn't he end up in Miami? It's because he wants to win. And if Miami proves an ability to win, I could see staying home being too enticing and then end up getting the flip.
But the big question is, does he want to play after the season premiere of Arrow? Like that's the big concern. Like, do you want to be on Big New Kickoff or do you want to follow Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow before your game? Where do you want to play your ball?
But they could also say, do you want to celebrate your wins on High Street or do you want to celebrate your wins on South Beach? And that's a pretty fucking fair question.
On High Street, so that's where you want to be at. Be at South Beach. Weather's too good down there.
But let's wrap this up and get out of here. We appreciate everyone pulling up in the chat. Smash that like button before you get out of here. The Buckeyes have a big game on Saturday. Hopefully we should be able to get challenged and see our defensive pass rush get after the quarterback. And hopefully our secondary is able to hold up. Q, I appreciate you being able to make it despite the technical difficulties and the transition. So super excited to have you back on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back on camera tomorrow to show off your new look that you Q's actually going under the needle. He's not actually moving. So get ready to see a new nose on Q tomorrow and one less eyebrow after those bold predictions last week.
It'll look like Chris Drew tomorrow. Oh man, but yeah, I see people asking, man. Yeah, it's hot here. It's about 5 in the morning. I think me and Ron started. It was like 4, 7 in the morning, so it's early. So definitely appreciate y'all coming in and bringing the energy. But I got palm trees in the pool from my patio, so no complaints there. The views is immaculate. I'm loving it out here. So most definitely. We're vibing. When it gets cold there, I'm gonna be chilling.
It sounds like you're fucking venturing into Area 51. You're cutting out a little bit, bro. Let the people know where they could find you. I think we lost Q there. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at 2_TES. That's 2 T's. You can find me on Twitch at the same thing. If you want to find me on TikTok, it is 2Shicey. We're here every morning for the Buckeye Roast, 8 a.m. Today, 8:20. Hopefully, we're able to get these technical difficulties resolved and get back to the regular scheduled programming. You have the Fans Edge tomorrow night at 7:30 with Mike, Cam, Disney, and EG, the college football pregame show on Saturday mornings, and of course the flagship on Sundays, Buckeye BS at 10 a.m. every week. We appreciate you tuning in to Buckeye BS. Shout out to Q. Hopefully the aliens didn't get him, and smash that like button. Appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. Everyone have a good day.
Mama.